Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the AI Show. It's so good to be here on this fine Monday morning, or as we like to say here at Microsoft, a week before the Microsoft Build Conference, where every day is a Monday morning, where every time of the day is a Monday morning. How's it going, everybody? Want to tell us where you're from? Put it in the chat over to the right. We'll give you a call. I don't know if it's to the right, actually. We'll put a call out. Where are you coming from? Say hello. My name is Seth, and this episode of the AI Show is brought to you by the letter F and the color F, 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 F. That's a CSS joke for the discerning. All right, my friends, let's see what we got going on today. Let me get this window open. Share. Today on this fabulous episode of the AI Show, we are going to be talking to Vinod about, number one, content understanding. Content understanding. Now, the cool thing about this one is that dude way undersells it. This stuff is so good, and I don't know why we're not using it more. Hopefully, you will see the benefits. Content understanding. With Vinod Kurpad, my friend Vinod. He's been on before. He's been on the show a couple of times. So that's number one, Vinod Kurpad. Content understanding. I should probably put Azure AI Content Understanding. And then number two, we have my friend Tim Huckaby from Lucihub. It's cool to actually see things using AI in the wild. This is my friend Tim. I have known Tim for a long time. Maybe you know him too. You know, all Tims are kind of like fun, jovial folks. So Lucihub with Tim Huckaby, we're going to talk about that, and then let me put, since I put last names, Vinod Kurpad, and then just put in the chat where you're coming from. Put a shout out to you. This is what we're doing today. And by the way, I would love it if you folks are doing cool stuff with AI, let's get you on the show. You know what I'm saying? Because I make demos. Like if you ever see at like big conferences, I get to make demos sometimes, which is super fun. But I'm always making stuff up. It's like Yeah, I think this would be a cool scenario, but I want to see like actual scenarios from folks. So if you're ever interested, shoot us a note at the AI show, and we'll be delighted to showcase your AI stuff. So please do that. And then also, if there's ever a show you like, there's something about AI that you want to know, we'll go do the research, and we will get it on the show so that we can, be of service here. Because I may even take a half hour in one of these shows and just be like, hey, I think I should do that. Here's what LLMs are and how they work. Because I think there's like this mysticism about AI that we need to dispel, because it's actually quite useful stuff once you know fundamentally what it is. And so that's where I'm at today. All right, so let me move this out of the way. Go full screen here. Let's see if Vinod is. Vinod, you ready to come on? Give me a thumbs up. Thumbs up. How you doing, buddy?
Good, thank you, Seth. Doing great, thanks.
You've been on the show a couple of times already, right?
I have, yes. It's been a few times, definitely.
Yeah. And what was it last time? We talked about similar things last time, right?
Last time we were talking about content understanding as well. I've done maybe a couple of episodes with you or others as well on document intelligence. So it's been a few different things, I think, over the past few years.
And I've been telling people, Vinod, and I know this is not good. Marketing doesn't like this, but the more boring the AI, the more useful it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're definitely in the boring camp. So we're definitely doing things that everybody needs, but nobody really thinks is like, okay, it's worth doing a ton of work on this to make this better.
Like in the very second that you actually have to do it, you're like, I wish I didn't have to do this. And there's some things that AI can actually help with. All right, well, let's do this. Shall we play the video and then maybe take some questions?
Absolutely.
All right. Good. Here we go. You're not going to want to miss the next episode of the AI show where we talk all about Azure AI Content Understanding. Getting started with my friend Vinod Kurpad. Make sure you tune in. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the AI show where we're talking all about Azure AI Content Understanding with my friend Vinod Kurpad, the Getting Started edition. How you doing, my friend?
Great, Seth. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, you've been on before. I think we've talked about similar things. Before we get into the content, pun intended, why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, thanks. So I'm a product manager. I work on the Azure AI services part. I am responsible for a few different services we work on, doc intelligence, content understanding, a few vision services as well. So we've got a portfolio of things that we work on within Azure AI services, essentially helping customers get the most out of their investments in AI.
I love it. So we've talked about document intelligence before. Is content understanding like the V next of it, or is it something else? Why don't you tell us about what it is and what problems it solves?
Yeah, so content understanding started actually from document intelligence, right? So when we were looking at what we're seeing with document intelligence, there was a really clear pattern we saw. Customers were using doc intelligence to parse out their documents, then send that down to an LLM, ask some questions, send in a few prompts along with the content extracted, get the outputs they wanted, right? We see two clear patterns in this. One is RAG, and then the other is automation, right? So in RAG, it's essentially the analogy I'll give you is in RAG, you've always got a standard set of documents or content that you're working with, and the queries are going to be different, right? So you're asking different queries, different people are coming in and asking different questions, but it's always pretty much a static set of content. Automation is sort of the opposite, right? Where you have a defined set of inputs that you're trying to capture, and your content might be varying. So you might get different ways that the documents or content is represented, and you're trying to capture that exact same defined schema output that you need. So there's two clear patterns that we see in terms of how customers were using this. And what we were really working on is to say, how do we ensure that we can produce the best possible output for both of these patterns using a unified service where we can take a lot of the work that customers have to do for themselves and then just combine that into a single unified service. And that's essentially where content understanding came from. So it's an extension to what we do with doc intelligence by adding in the large language model capabilities, but it's also a sort of V next of what you think about what document intelligence can do for you today.
No, that makes sense. So is this for like Word docs? I'm trying to remember what kind of inputs content understanding what document intelligence had and now what content understanding has. Is it just like Word docs and PDFs? Tell us about what kind of content it can analyze.
Oh, that's a great question. So content understanding is really intended to take that exact pattern and make it multimodal. So it's not just Word docs, it's not just PDFs, it's Word docs, PDFs, images, audio, video, and we're going to continue to expand on the formats of or content types that we support. So it's unifying that process for you, so you have one single pane of glass to work with, and you can just get the outputs that you want in order to perform whatever you need to do it next.
I see. So this is actually way more than what we talked about before, where it was able to extract things out of documents. Now it's able to extract things out of any kind of file content thing. Am I right there, or am I missing something?
Exactly. I mean, I have a few videos and a few demos that I could also show you. So you're spot on, right? So think about this. The enterprise today, it's not just audio, it's not just documents, it's not just audio, it's not just video, it's every one of these modalities, right? And how do you ensure that you can create the best possible output across all these things is essentially where the market is moving today. That's what you need, and that's what we're trying to build for you in content understanding.
This makes a lot more sense. All right. So you said you brought some demos to show us. Can we take a look?
So what you see here is a Foundry AI Foundry experience that we're working on. Again, content understanding is a set of APIs. You're going to use this as a way to automate your processes, get the outputs that you want. The Foundry is really the getting started experience of how you could define those analyzers, as well as how you can test it out and validate that things look right. So let's go through this workflow. I'll show you really quick what we're doing. You go ahead and you create a new project within the AI Foundry. Now you're going to see content understanding available for you here in the left nav, right? So along with all the other things that you can do within the Foundry, you can now work with content understanding as well. The first thing you're going to do when you do that is you're going to, so let me just show you what this might look like, right? So I came in here, I created a new project. I get a content understanding workflow that shows you all the different things that we can do for you, right? So you can use an output that you need for RAG, you can work on media analytics, you can work on invoice processing, post-call analytics, and so on, right? So the easiest way to get started, go ahead, create a new custom analyzer. Once you create a custom analyzer, it's going to ask you to define a schema, and you're off and running, right? So the key thing that you have to think about here is you're defining the schema. So you get to decide what you want to extract from all these all the content you're processing. In this example, I've got a invoice, and I'm using one of the newer capabilities that we just released, which is essentially the pre-built invoice model. Now, if you've been a Doc Intelligence customer in the past and you've used Doc Intelligence, you'll say, well, Doc Intelligence has a pre-built model as well for invoices and it worked really well, right? And it does. This one is slightly different in the sense that it does one additional thing that a lot of customers were asking us for, which we really couldn't quite accomplish with Doc Intelligence, which is the ability for you to customize this schema, right? So now you can extract all the fields that the invoice pre-built produces, but you can also add your fields. So for example, if you had an invoice that looked something like this, and there was a particular column in here that is not in the schema that's defined, you can go ahead and add that into your invoice as a new field. And now you've got a new capability that you can extend this invoice to produce the output that you really need, right? So the process is pretty simple. You've defined your schema. You go ahead and you test your analyzer.
Before you go there, can we go
Yeah.
back one tab? I wanted to ask you a
Oh,
question.
yeah.
So I remember before, didn't you have to have to tell it where on the form it was before? Or you just literally have to, all you have to do is literally just tell it the schema and that's it.
Great question, Seth. So thank you for asking that question, right? So if you think about where we are today with Doc Intelligence, with custom models, you had to label every single sample that you wanted to bring in to your labeling experience, right? And you had to label every single thing. With content understanding, we've moved forward significantly, and we recognize that there's certain fields that when you define the fields, you absolutely don't need to label them, right? So with content understanding, we're moving to an experience where you label only the things that you need corrections on, not the things that are obvious that the model already knows how to figure out. So you just define your schema, we extract the values that you're looking for, and once we've extracted those values, you then have the option to say, oh, by the way, this billing address, the value that you extracted was not quite right. I expected this address instead of that address as the billing address, and that's the little labeling experience that you have to go through. But that's only in instances where you actually need to correct what the output was that we generated for the first time.
And this is way better. Like I'm just realizing this is way better than I remember having before, where we had to tell it it's here, it's here, it's here. Now you just say, I want this information from this thing. Get to work. Oh, you made you flubbed a little. Let me fix that for you. And that's all that is to it now.
Exactly, right. And I'll give you a couple of other things as well that are new and only recent additions to what we've done, right? So when you're defining a new field, for example, you give it a new name. It could be something in the invoice. Let's just say it's a new field called uh, tax code, maybe, right? I don't know if this is real, but if there's a field called tax code, right? And this description field is interesting too, right? Because what the description does is it allows you to tell us what you think needs to be extracted, right? So I could use this as sort of a meta prompt and say, oh, the tax code is always going to be the 4-digit code or 4-letter code next somewhere in the tax section of the document, right? So that would be an example of how I could use the description to guide the model to say, like, go use that information in this particular section to go find me the answer that I'm looking for. Um, and then
That's
the
before you go,
yeah, yeah,
that's really cool because that's like, I don't know. That's really cool. When I was a kid, right, I stuffed envelopes for a lawyer once. I imagine there's other jobs where you have to like find a thing and underline it and type into Excel. Like
yeah.
this will do that for you, so you don't have to do that tedious work.
Exactly, right. And you're just telling it what you want, and it goes and does this for you.
Okay,
The
so
other
that was you went over that part really fast. This is super cool. I love that. What's next?
So the other part that is interesting is this new field this new method capability that we're adding. It's been available in some of the other modalities, but for documents we've not had this capability, and it's this ability for you to now generate and classify fields, right? So let me give you this example, right? It's a contract. You're trying to identify like whether a clause is a force majeure clause or not, right? And so you can say, like, take any span of text and say classify it, and then classify it as one of these 4 classes. It's either a force majeure clause, it's a early termination clause, or it's other, right? And now you're classifying the output within the content of the document, and you're generating a brand new field that is nothing about what was present in the document, but you're generating some new information about new metadata about this document. Then you can,
That's
yeah.
amazing. I'm sorry. That's real because it's, I don't know. Like sometimes Vinod, man, you undersell your stuff all the time because sometimes like I look at this stuff like, and I'm looking at a form here, but I'm thinking like I can make this thing read my emails and tell me who sent it, what they wanted, and what's going on, and it can literally summarize my life as in my inbox because it's a dumpster fire in there, and it could do this with any kind of document, correct?
Exactly, right? And
Okay.
so that generate field is exactly what you just described, right? So I could generate a new field and I could call it summary, and I could give it a generate type, in which case it's not going to try to extract any information from the document. It's just going to read the entire document and it's going to generate the summary. And you can, again, use the description field to guide the summary to say, like for example, in your email scenario, you might say, hey, summarize this email and only tell me about the things that are action items that I should be aware of, right? Um, and that should just generate a task specific summary for you, which is to say, like, okay, what do I as Seth really care about?
That's cool. All right. So what's next? Once you define the schema, I kind of cut
Yep.
you off when you went to the test analyzer. Let's keep going forward here.
Yeah. So the test analyzer, think of it as nothing more than just a way for you to validate the outputs that we're going to generate, right? So you go through this process, you validate that everything looks good. In this case, I'm going to analyze this particular invoice. It's going to produce a set of results. We'll just take another one as well. We'll run analysis on this as well. And you'll see that as you do this, you're going to get an output that is essentially all of the fields that we extracted from this invoice.
We'll pause right here so that we can
Yeah, we'll
wait
have
for
to
the result.
pause here for this to come back. So, all right. So now you're going to see a couple things, right? First is you're going to see the outputs from the invoice, which is here's the fields that we extracted. Here's the confidence score for each of these values that we extracted, right? This is where the sort of magic starts to happen, right? In addition to these confidence scores, which you can use to determine if you need a human review or not, right? So that's the core value that we produce with confidence scores is if you were to use a LLM for yourself and just send this invoice and say extract these fields for me, the LLM would do a pretty good job. But how do you know which ones are the ones that you really want to focus on as the errors versus which ones are the ones that are really good? So it's an all or nothing world. And as you think about where content understanding differs, it's that ability for you to then get that tunable confidence scores that allow you to get to the ones that you really need to care about as the potential errors.
Yeah, and that's cool. And for example, how would you tell it to, like if the confidence was low or how do you do the fixes? Are the fixes here? How do you make those fixes that you talked about earlier?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. Great question. So essentially, all I do is I'd come in here, I'd upload files, and then I'd basically select a set of files from here that I wanted to upload. I'd have
Mhm.
maybe a few sample invoices that I know are problematic. I'd go ahead and auto label those. When you auto label an invoice, it essentially runs the existing analyzer on that, and it tells you like these are the current results we can get, right? And you can go ahead and then you can then edit those, and you can then say like, well, in this particular value, I wanted this span of text here versus this one, and that's essentially the output that we're going to take from the labeling process and drive that back into our model improvement process to then improve the overall quality of the analyzer as it improves over time.
The other sneaky thing that you said like really fast, and I want to
Yeah.
make sure that we don't jump over it, is you said that it was using LLMs, but you sneakily said it like really. Tell me more about that part.
Yeah. So look, the world is moving towards an LLM first inference model, right? So we're all, if you look at what agents are doing, if you look at what workflows are doing, if you look at what RAG is, it's all about maximizing the ability for you to get the LLM to do the most effective task for you, right? Within content understanding, that's sort of the ethos that we're building towards, is to say we understand that there's a variety of these workloads that customers have where it can be painful, right? You have to go through this whole chunking, embedding, and like figuring out like which chunk is the right chunk. If you ask a question and you get the answer back from three separate chunks, which one of those chunks is the most meaningful answer to take back, and why? There's a lot of challenges that you can go through, and in a really simple document like this, like what I have on the screen, it may not be obvious, but when you get into more complex content types, it becomes a huge challenge. And that's essentially where content understanding is sort of targeted to, right? Is to say, we just make this super simple for you to say, I need to use an LLM, I need to get this particular content type as an input, and I want this particular output, make it happen. And then once it's done, you just say, okay, now run this on a million documents, or run this on 100,000 documents, whatever that is that you're trying to do.
I love it. And so the next thing I want to talk about
Yeah.
is you said it could do multi-modality, and I see a tab there that says video analysis. Can we
Yeah.
go there and then let's see if we can get folks some call to actions to actually see how they can get started.
Yeah. So again, right, the way to do this is in the Foundry. Go create a new project. You should see content understanding in there. Add your start with the content that you want to work with. So I'm going to call out Joe, who's a PM on our team, and Joe's actually built a little video of himself here. I can actually hit play and see. So Joe's showing you in this video. Joe's showing you how to use one of these letters. As I don't even know what they're technically called, right? But think of the scenario of there's a ton of customers out there that have videos of their products, unboxing, working with their particular product, like helping their support teams sort of use a particular product, and there's a lot of these videos out there. Now, how do you make the maximum use of these videos to then answer questions that your customers have, right? So in this particular example, I've got a video I'm using here. You can see I've just defined two simple fields. One is describe, which is describe the equipment. And then here I'm just saying create step-by-step instructions, right? And you can see in my field description, I'm saying create step-by-step instructions on how to use this equipment safely, right? So if you go look at the outputs, you'll see that we're able to take that video in, analyze that video, and then generate both the description that is a more generic description of what this video is about, and then the step-by-step instructions as well to say like, hey, here's the step-by-step instructions on how you can go about doing this. As part of the output, you also get the transcript of all of the spoken words and where they are. So you can also take this same input and generate two specific outputs, right? One for a RAG-like process that says like, anybody have any questions about any of the equipment we have? Here's content that you can use to try to answer those questions. Or you can just generate a FAQ-like document like what I'm doing on the right here, which is essentially the step-by-step instructions.
This is really cool because it was effectively exactly the same thing as before,
Mhm.
but with a super more complex kind of, at least to my feeling, a super more complex document, and it all just worked the same way.
Yeah, it's if you think about like the challenges with video, right? What we're trying to solve is really like all that frame rate, all of those like packing of all of those frames in, aligning up the audio and the video, making sure that you send both of those informations in, both of those components in at the right time for the large language model or the Gen AI model to extract the right values that you need. And then eventually, if you think about it, it's like also describing the actions, right? Like making sure that you can produce the output that you want. Like if, for example, if there's Joe ends up like raising the ladder up in this video, you can also say like what are the actions that Joe performed in this video, and it would say like, oh, Joe raised the ladder up, and then he like lowered it down, and all the other things that you might need from it.
So this is all amazing. Where can people go to find out more, my friend?
So Azure AI Content Understanding, there's a docs page. Go ahead, check that out. It's the what's new in Azure AI Content Understanding. We keep that updated with all of the updates that we're making. We're going to be throwing out a lot more content for build. There's going to be some amazing new stuff that we're working on that is all going to be showing up pretty soon. So please do go check that out. We also have a video series that is essentially a getting started series. It shows you a few different things. Some of the things that I shared with you today, there's some additional things like a post-call analytics scenario that Jan built out, which is essentially taking a very common scenario for every single call center out there to say, I've got all these audio recordings. How do I get the insights that I care about from these? And that's a great way for you to get started with all of the things that we're doing within content understanding.
Well, it's always a pleasure. You always come on here and surprise me with like the coolest stuff that people don't usually think about. Thanks for being with us, my friend.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you so much, Seth.
And thank you so much for watching. We're learning all about Azure AI Content Understanding, the Getting Started edition with my friend Vinod Kurpad. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Take care. Alrighty. Oh, hold on. I messed it up. Hold on. Let me move this. There we go. Dude, always bring in the good stuff, Vinod. All right. So there are some questions. Get them into the chat over here. And if you don't have any, that's okay. I'll ask Vinod a couple of questions. We got 5 more minutes before the top of the hour. Vinod, what are some interesting things people are doing with this stuff?
So we're seeing some pretty interesting patterns. Obviously, like we have a ton of document legacy, if you want to call it that. So there's always the customers that are trying to do lots of interesting things with documents. But more interestingly, I think at this point we're starting to see more video as well come along, right? So in video, we're seeing a lot of like media and entertainment kind of scenarios. I think the most interesting use cases currently revolve around like things like, okay, how do I detect where is a good place for me to put an ad in? How do I detect where there is an ad? So think about scenarios where like there's content that either needs to be made available in a platform that allows for videos. You want to find the most logical break for where you want to insert the video, and so there's a ton of customers that are interested in those kinds of scenarios around video processing and video understanding. So
yeah, because video feels like to be the more complicated one. All right, so let's see what we got in the chat here. Hello, Shah Ahmed. It's good to see you again, my friend. Here's another one. J Maximus. Hello, my friend. Hey guys. Hey, how you doing? I hate editing. Yes. So you're gonna love the next one then. My friend, it's gonna be great about that. Acknowledge the chat. That's why you have no viewers. Hold on, I have a sound effect for that. Oh. Did you hear? Hold on, my sound effect wasn't loud enough. We have viewers. We for those that are wondering, we simulcast to YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitch, so that people can watch at their leisure in any place. But if you hate editing, you're gonna love what's gonna come next. So make sure that. And then thanks. Here's an anonymous link to you. There you go. Thanks for the awesome. Yeah, it's good stuff. And my sense is that like people should be using more of this stuff because like I think I told you last time when you were on, there's like this junk drawer that we have in every organization that has a lot of content that has insights that are just locked in there that content understanding can pull out. What is your reaction to that?
Yeah, I think there is like if you look at like things like the data lake, things like the lake houses that customers have, like there's a lot of stuff going in there that has tremendous amount of value for people, but they're just dropping that in, and then they're like, well, I'll get to it sometime, but they never eventually do. So we're hoping that, with tools like this, it just simplifies that process, makes it super easy for you to just say, like, point it at my data, go make this happen, give me these insights, and now I'm going to try and make something more reasonable with it.
Yeah, and the thing is that like the insights come when you go from a less structured format into a more structured format, and this is what this does. And the thing that for me did it is because I used to the form recognizer thing was awesome, but it dealt in single modalities, in like a form, and this deals in multi modalities. And I know we mentioned files, but what kind of files can you do? Is it do any file, or can it be an image? Can it be? We already talked about video. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we support images, we support documents. So within documents, you can have PDFs, PowerPoints, TIFFs. So you could scan a document and it's still a document, but it's an image at this point. So you can take that and you can process that. You can take a regular image that you take from your iPhone and process that. That's also possible. Then you can also do things like, okay, I have audio files, video files. There's various recording formats, like where we support a variety of different recording formats as well, from audio and video too. So essentially, what we're trying to build is, think of it as a simple way for you to just go from unstructured data to structured outputs, right? So you're just taking this as unstructured data that's coming in, whether it be images, documents, audio, or video, and you generate the structured schema that you want, right? Again, the thing to think about is, like, say in the audio scenario, right? Like call centers. You, Seth, might be a product manager that wants to say, like, hey, I want to know what are customers complaining about my product, right? I may be a call center manager where I'm trying to figure out, are my employees answering questions effectively? So it's that exact same call, but our schemas are very different because the things that we care about are different. And so you can still address that sort of scenario with content understanding.
I see. So that's the other insight that I'm pulling away from this, is that just because you pass it through content understanding once, you may be passing it for a certain use case, but you can pass it again through a different use case and then get even different insights, because the thing that was different for me is that you just tell it what information you want and it just does it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so you can just say, like, oh, I'm sitting on this data set. I need to improve my overall maybe training for first time call center employees. Like, run this through the data, and let's try to figure out, what are the types of questions that customers don't get effective answers for. And then you just know, like, where you want to reinforce your training process.
That is amazing. Well, Vinod, thank you so much, bud.
Yeah, awesome.
All right, we'll see you next time. And thanks again for being with us.
Thank you for having me on, Seth.
Cheers. All right, that's Vinod. I think that stuff is completely undersold. Like I need to put it into all my demos. I'm telling you. All right, let's see. Tim, are you ready to come up and say hello? Here you are, Tim. What's up, handsome?
Don't say it if you don't mean it.
I mean, I mean it. Tim actually lives in the land of my birth, beautiful Southern California.
San Diego, California. Yeah,
it's beautiful. I think because I was born there. Tim.
Well, it's beautiful, but we have our own share. We have known each other a long time. Yeah. We have our own share of problems here in Carlsbad, California.
It's true.
Yeah, there's no nirvana or perfect place on earth.
Yeah, but like I think I missed the sun. For those that don't know, I live in the Pacific Northwest now, because that's where Microsoft is headquartered, the global headquarters. And so between the months of, like, I don't know, October and probably sometime just before October, it always rains and it's just dark.
When I worked there, in the late 90s, it only rained in 1998. It only didn't rain 3 days out of a full year.
What?
Right. And on those days it snowed. And I'm not kidding. Climate change has made Seattle in summer a great town.
That is true. Like, I remember when I first got here, and we're digressing here, but I love catching up with Tim. When I got, everyone was like, it never gets to over 100 here. And I was like, okay. And then, because we didn't have AC here, and I moved from Nevada, the desert, and California, and it's like, you don't have AC. You're like living in a cave? What's wrong with you? And then so I thought about buying it, and they're like, no, it never gets to over 100. And then it got to 100 for one day, and then it got to 100 for a week, and then it got to 100 for a lot longer. I'm like, what, y'all fibbing me? So yeah, definitely things have changed.
Yeah. And you can imagine 3 straight days of snow at the Microsoft campus in the late 90s. Like there's no snow clearing equipment in Redmond, Washington.
That's right.
And there was no virtual office thing or Teams or anything like that. It was complete chaos.
Yeah.
Absolute chaos. Yeah.
So here's the thing, Tim. And the thing that you don't know about Tim is that he's been doing AI stuff from before it was called AI. It's called machine learning, and which is Tim knows me too. I've been promoting machine learning since like 2008 when everyone thought I was crazy. AI's been around for a long time. Yeah, Tim. So before we get into the Lucihub, tell us about what you've been doing with AI.
Well, to your history, you're way before your time. And you had to wait for Moore's law to execute, so our CPUs could be, and GPUs could be strong enough to build the stuff you studied in university, right? So I stumbled backwards into it at a meeting on campus, a computer vision meeting. Anna Roth, who's now works in a different job.
Oh yeah, she's great.
Oh my God,
she's so smart. I'm intimidated by her intelligence.
Yeah, like half my age, super smart gal, and she did this computer vision demo, and my jaw just dropped. And this is over a decade ago, and I just decided right then and there, this is going to be my thing. So, I've been lucky, to do so many AI projects, mostly in computer vision. But that Lucihub thing is a lot of AI, including Vinod's product, right? Content understanding. You can imagine if you're producing video, and say it's a product placement TV commercial for a big shoe manufacturer,
right?
You can imagine asking the video to take me to the place where the Nike shoe is. I need 60% of this video to be the Nike shoe, to have the shot, right? Yeah, we love those guys. And as far as we're concerned, Vinod and his team cannot go faster.
Yeah.
And they build features like every week. They come with new features and they have big announcements that build, and it's super exciting. Yeah.
Well, we recorded some beforehand. Should we play it?
We should play it, but we recorded it, and I made a mistake and called it Video Indexer when Vinod's product is the version 2 is called Content Understanding. And that's been bugging me for like 3 days.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But the thing is like I think it brings to the point that like content understanding is unifying all like the video indexers and the document intelligence, and it's like, let's just give you something and then you can do whatever you want. And that's the part that I think was cool.
Totally cool. And we could talk like this forever, right?
Yeah.
You probably want to play the video at some point, but when Vinod was talking about templating, we're templating for each vertical industry. So in the use case I was talking about, maybe making a Nike commercial, we'd have a template for product placement that would lead the user down the right path so that they wouldn't have to do a prompt. It would be building that custom prompt for them. Make sense? So
that's cool.
You may want to play the video now.
Let's do it.
We're going to continue talking forever.
I know. Tim's awesome. We'll talk after, and please get your questions. Please get your questions into the chat because there's about a 30-second delay between when you type something in and when we see it. So FYI, just a little secret. All right, here we go. Miss this episode of the AI Show. We talk all about Lucihub and how AI influenced it with my friend Tim Huckaby. Make sure you tune in. Hello, welcome to this episode of the AI Show. We're talking all about Lucihub and how AI has made it a fantastic application with my friend Tim. How you doing, my friend?
So good, Seth. So good to see you, my old friend.
I know. I've known you now for 600 years. The Pleistocene era of AI, I think, is what it was.
Before that.
That's right. Why don't you introduce yourself for people that don't know who you are?
So I'm Tim Huckaby, career software veteran, worked on the Windows NT extended team as a young man. That's where I learned how professional software was built. Founded a couple companies, retired and went fly fishing around the world, and then stumbled into this awesome Lucihub company as a startup.
So why don't you tell us what Lucihub does, so that folks can get a sense for what it is?
Fair enough. Professional video production. So if you think of like a Nike commercial, it costs about $500,000 to produce and takes 6 weeks. $500,000 cost, six weeks to produce. We narrow that thing down to 3 days and a fraction of the cost through AI and software and just pure software automation.
I feel like I need to see this to believe it, because I believe it or not, Tim, we are actually in a video right now that's just getting produced. But but doing production is like, you got to cut stuff up, you got to have the script, you got to have direction. How does this actually work?
Yeah, so you can put 2 and 2 together, and we're no longer a startup. At least I don't think we're a startup. We don't have the big funding, and we may make it on revenue because we have real customers who adore us, like Microsoft and Apple. So you could use us if you'd like, Seth. But if you put 2 and 2 together, on the generative AI side, our LLM wrapper, Azure OpenAI with Semantic Kernel, running the show in the background. That's doing pre-production, shot list, storyboard, script, things like that. Things that are good in generative AI, but no one wants to write a script. And we're in a lot of vertical markets, so this application is built so beautifully in terms of user interaction design that it guides you almost like a wizard. And then obviously all the prompt engineering, hardcore prompt engineering is going on in the background. So by the time you're entering a few fields, if you're a filmmaker or a video maker, or even an HR video in a company, that prompt has been built and boom, you go. That's the pre-production side. Obviously, we have on the post-production side, blogs, press releases, things like that. In the middle, we just make it really easy to, and with all Lightning storage and all that type of stuff. Azure, we can talk about my journey from AWS that I inherited to Azure in this company.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, it's not easy, Seth.
Yeah. No, I know. I feel like
I
I
don't care
want to
what Microsoft says, it's not easy. Yeah, so in any event, we make it super easy for these content creators, these filmmakers, and kind of the key, and everyone knows this, the TV commercials and movies and professional video production is being done on these things. And like real feature films are being done on this. So we make it super easy to get content out of this up to the cloud quickly and processed. And if you think about it in between, like in our product roadmap, we'll be giving the editors, real humans, because you can't replace creative, right? We'll be giving the editors some tools that will help them dramatically in their journey before they ever get to Adobe Premiere, which is probably what you use to cut up your films and produce. So we'll create the Adobe Premiere file and just get rid of all that tedium before they ever get there. So imagine a world, Seth, and I think the compliment to this interview is going to be the video indexer people. Think about a world where you just say, take me to the part where Tim says, he's a fly fisherman. Take me to the part where, the guy falls down, and just putting the timeline together before it ever gets into Premiere. Ultimately, how do you do it fast? You have production teams around the world, right? We say, and we've done it, we could do, if it were a use case, a wedding video, it'd have to be a fancy wedding, obviously.
Yeah, right.
We could do a wedding video and we could deliver it before people went home from the reception. That means guarantee me that 40% of the content includes the faces of the bride and groom, which means we'd have to facially identify them before you go in, right? Eliminate the mean grandma to just, 2 seconds. Give me the best shot of the cake cutting, stuff like that. It's so obvious where AI can help the tedium in this world. And I honestly, I think that's where we've done so well. or
Well,
why we've done so well.
Well, you have a video. Okay, do you mind if I play it? I want to see what's going on.
This video, I saw it this morning. It's so much better than me demoing live.
Welcome to Lucihub, your all-in-one video production platform designed to streamline your workflow and enhance your creative process. Lucihub comprises 3 main components. The production side, where you can upload content, manage your project, and collaborate with team members. A suite of AI tools that assist in pre-production tasks. And a managed service that ensures your projects are completed efficiently and to the highest standards. Let's start with team building. Lucihub simplifies the process of adding members to your project dashboard. With everyone on board, dive into creating your project with ease. You'll enter essential details like the project title, video orientation, length, and a detailed description. This clarity ensures your editors know exactly what you're aiming for, setting the stage for a successful project. Setting an edit start date is crucial, and Lucihub is designed to adapt to your timeline. Choose when editing begins, triggering the service level agreement. Whether you need your video in 72 hours or as quickly as 2 hours for those urgent deadlines, Lucihub aligns with your needs, offering flexibility and efficiency. Uploading content is simple and versatile. Use a copy link or download a QR code, enabling direct upload from your phone via an external browser. This feature is particularly valuable for collaborating with individuals outside your organization, eliminating the need for dashboard access and making the process smoother. Once your content is uploaded, managing it is a breeze. You can view clips, delete, download, and star them for shot selection. Invite key team members, collaborators, project managers, and filmers to join the project, fostering a collaborative environment that enhances creativity. Branding is seamless with the Brand Box feature within the main dashboard. Upload your company's branding assets, ensuring editors incorporate them into all your videos. Consistent brand representation is crucial, and Lucihub makes it effortless to maintain your brand identity across all your projects. When your video is ready for review, you'll receive an email notification signaling that it's time to assess the final product. Watch the video, and if it meets your expectations, simply click accept or request revisions. Leaving feedback is straightforward. Pause the video, type your note, and save it. The platform logs the time for precise feedback, streamlining the review process. For stakeholders outside the platform, send the guest review link. They can leave notes without needing an account, ensuring efficient collaboration and communication. As an admin or project manager, managing notes is straightforward. Delete unnecessary feedback and forward refined notes to the editor for quick iterations. Expect the revised version within 24 hours, allowing for rapid adjustments and improvements. Lucihub's suite of AI tools is a game changer for all your pre-production needs. Create scripts, shot lists, voiceovers, and more without the need for extensive technical skills. Write in everyday language, provide details, and let AI assist you. Modify your material and convert it into various formats. Need a voiceover? Toggle on the voice studio to turn your script into a voiceover, choosing from a wide range of voices, accents, and tones. Adjust the speed and rate, and save your preferred voice for future projects. It's all about making pre-production as seamless as possible, transforming scripts into shot lists into blogs, blogs into social media posts. The possibilities are endless. Now, Lucihub is even more powerful with multi-language support. Translate your script or voiceover into any language with the click of a button. This feature opens up new avenues for global collaboration and ensures your content reaches a broader audience, breaking down language barriers and enhancing your project's impact. Lucihub's managed service component provides the peace of mind that your projects are handled by seasoned professionals. Our editors are committed to bringing your vision to life. Whether you're working on a corporate video, a social media campaign, or an internal training module, Lucihub provides the resources and support needed to achieve your goals. Our team is dedicated to providing a service that is not only fast, but also maintains high-quality standards at an affordable rate. Embrace the future of video production with Lucihub. Let us be your partner in creativity, ensuring your projects are completed efficiently and with the highest level of craftsmanship. Welcome to the new era of video production. Welcome to Lucihub.
That was super cool. Tell me about all the AI bits in there, because I want to hear about that. Is it like it said AI, but I feel like it's doing a lot more than what we saw there.
Yeah. And what's funny is that the creative team produced that video this morning on our own bits, eating our own dog food. And I said, so what part of that video was AI and what wasn't? right? So the voiceover, that guy talking, that's AI generated, from the Microsoft stack, right? Sounded pretty good, right?
Yeah, it did. I didn't even know that.
Bulletproof. But those beautiful young people, it says the Lucihub team, that's not us.
I
And
was
that's
going to
not
say,
AI either.
you look a lot younger in the video, Tim.
It's not AI either. That was stock footage. That was my joke this morning. Like, no way. So yeah, there's a lot in there, obviously. If you want to talk tech, I think we made a gamble on semantic kernel early. I don't know if you remember, because you were doing the video interviews at Builds
Yeah.
when the CTO of Microsoft came out and talked about these bits, but it didn't have a product team. It wasn't funded, it wasn't resourced. But I'm like, oh man. And the lead engineer, Marquise Howard, it's like, oh man, we gotta commit to this thing. And we did, and that was a risk. Now they're real, and they kick ass. Oops, am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, you can.
And they're awesome, and I'm so happy we committed to it, because honestly, it makes our lives so much easier. The Azure Open AI thing can be daunting, and that helps tremendously.
So at the lowest levels, you're using semantic kernel in the stack to do agentic kind of behaviors. Give me an example of maybe one or two things that it's doing that enables or makes AI really shine for customers.
Well, obviously generating a script when you have a simple idea, give me a minute-long video of Seth Juarez's career, now dumb it down to a 12-year-old level.
Nice.
That type of stuff that us technology people find easy by just typing, prompting, but that these creatives would really have a challenge with. So,
Yeah.
and that's why our LLM wrapper app, which we internally call Butterfly, is so awesome. Yeah.
So the
Super.
other thing I wanted to ask about is the notion of, so using semantic kernel, using OpenAI, what other Azure things are bringing together all of this AI stuff together to deliver the solution?
Well, you know me, right? All Azure all the time.
That's right.
So, I think I casually mentioned how when I inherited this young company, I switched it over from AWS to Azure, which was a challenge. But you name it, from structured storage to the service bus we built, we do have an agentic interface, because the future of this production app that I casually mentioned that we're building will have to have an agentic service bus type thing, because it's going to have so many connections to so many things. Yeah. So, we entered the Microsoft Startup Program, Founders Hub, whatever that is. We graduated. We're now in the ISV program. But, big companies are our customers, small companies too. But,
I love it. I love it. So the last question I want to get to, because you've been making software for a long time. I've been making software probably for a long time too, but not as long as you. How is the notion of AI and agentic behavior changing the way we think about how we make software and what kind of experiences we can deliver to customers?
Well, can I contort that a little bit?
Yes, please.
I'm, with gray hair, I'm at the keynote stage of my life. And, unfortunately, in the world, we focus so much in the media about the negative parts of AI. Well, I've been building AI software. My people have been building AI software for over a decade. And it's all about the good part of AI. I mean, this application, this Lucihub thing, is a tool that makes the professional video team's life so much easier, allows them to go faster with less tedium for less money. It doesn't replace humans. On my prior life, in all the healthcare tools we built for doctors, built in computer vision, they're just tools to help doctors make decisions better. Show me, that I've have 87% confidence that that's pancreatic cancer or something like that, right? Yeah, that's what I think is so exciting about this world. And I just wish we would talk more about the positive things about that. Because, I think we talked about before we press record, that you can't replace creative with AI.
No.
You can't replace reasoning with AI, and we're eons, if ever, from that. These are just tools to make humans' lives better.
Yeah, and I love the concept that I've been saying, and maybe you can check me on this, that AI is very good at helping you with blank page problems where you need to get started on something fast, specifically creative. And then the stuff you were talking about, computer vision's been around since, they've been checking letters on mail in the post office, the 80s. I love the idea that this is designed to just help us.
Yeah, and the blank page thing is a good metaphor because it gives you that on-ramp, that huge jump start to something where you might stare at the blank page and type something and throw it away a few times. I mean,
That's right.
And that's the other thing. The iteration capability of generative AI is just, I don't like my script. Do it again. Make it shorter, make it longer. Give it to me in Spanish.
I love it.
Yeah, it's so fun. So fun.
All right.
Really
Well,
good.
I'm going to put up a link here so people know where to go. This is where folks can go find Lucihub. And then the sample video, there's one video we showed, but there's another one that you can see here. Any final words on what people should be doing and how people should think about Lucihub?
Is this where I put in the plug for the Build conference?
Yeah, you can. You can. Are you going to be there?
I can't be there. I have a conflict, but I'm going to be watching.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being with us, my friend.
Great to see you, buddy.
And thank you so much for watching me learning all about Lucihub and how AI is changing video production with my friend Tim Huckaby. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Take care. How about them apples? Let me bring this down here so that they can see it. How about that?
But, hey, we weren't so bad, were we?
Yeah, we're pretty good. I mean, what can I say?
You know how you hate watching yourself after recording and like you find so many mistakes in there. And yeah. You do a lot more recording than me, my friend.
Well,
You're your own worst critic. That's the way we are.
I have to start playing our walk-off music because we are out of time, my friend. Thanks for being with us. We got to have you on again when you build another cool thing.
Oh, we got something coming that we're going to have to demo on your show. It's so amazing.
That's cool, dude. Well, thank you so much for being with us, bud.
Cool. Great to see you, buddy.
We'll see you. All right, friends. We are about out of time. Thank you so much for being with us this week. Next time on the AI show, we have May 26th. Maybe I'll sneak in something next week. No promises, though, because next week is the week of a Microsoft Build. If you don't know about Microsoft Build, you should sign up. I don't know if there's any more tickets, but you for sure can sign up and watch all of the goodness live. I know I have a couple of assignments. I have a couple of talks, too. Actually, why don't we have a minute. Let me share my screen here. Let us find Microsoft Build 2025. I'm going to bring it up here. Here's the website. You're not looking at it, but I'm moving it over here in a second. Are you seeing the website? Maybe I'm sharing the wrong thing. So let me make sure I share the right thing here. So stop screen sharing. And what I want to do is I want to share a window. This window. Oh, entire screen. That's what I want to share. Here we go. Okay, so this is the Microsoft Build Conferencia. Session catalog. Seth Juarez. I have a couple of assignments backstage at Build. So there's that. Tuesday, May 20th. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time. Then I have a talk on Monday, May 19th with Kendra. This is the one where we're going to talk about like what even is an agent and how to navigate agents at Microsoft. And then we have this one, best practices for building agentic apps with Azure AI Foundry. This is me and Amanda Foster, who is fantastic. She built a bunch of agents, and I built an app. We're going to show you how we did it. So master proven strategies for designing, coding, and deploying agentic applications that are reliable and efficient. Discover real-world techniques that minimize errors and reduce development costs while ensuring scalable. Wow, whoever wrote that did a great job. Well done, you. And so those are the things that I'm doing at Microsoft Build. I may participate in some of the keynotes. They're using some of my apps in the keynotes too. I built some apps so that those are using the keynotes, and we'll dissect them afterwards so you can see they're actually real. One of the things I do not like is that some conferences, maybe sometimes us too, show apps that aren't like, don't feel like we try to reduce risk, and so we put apps into a slide and do video stuff. I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that, and so I want to actually show you the apps that we are going to be showing at the conference, and we can dive into them. You can take a look at how we built things, and so we'll do that. So that's what the next episode is going to be. Stop sharing here. So that's what the next episode is going to be on the AI show. We actually are going to show you the real bits of the stuff that we are doing at Build, and hopefully I'll have some guests and fun guests. We don't know who they are yet, but I'm going to finagle people while I'm over there. All right. Now I just want to say thank you for spending your time with us. We know your time is valuable, and we appreciate it. If there's anything you'd like us to cover or show or talk about, it doesn't even matter. I'm just interested in AI, and I want to show you how the goodness that AI brings. Please let us know, and feel free to reach out to us if you ever have any questions or would like to come on and show us your cool AI stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time on this, the AI Show Live. Take care.